New Mexico, it's time for the Big Bright Idea. I'm Kimberly Temple, he's Tyler Ortega, and this week we're going to be talking to you about who we think will be making the Heisman cutoff. Tyler, you know, last year was difficult because a Bama player won, which obviously I'm not too happy about, but it was an incredible race for Heisman. There was a lot of really important names on that list. Who do you think will go this year?
Well, I'm going to start off by going with Deshaun Watson, the quarterback out of Clemson. He was a Heisman finalist just last year. He ended up losing the award to Derrick Henry. However, Deshaun Watson, he reminds me of Michael Vick, but he can actually throw. And by that, we'll go ahead and cut to the tape here. You see these long bombs, the precision by Deshaun Watson is just incredible, and he's doing this against NC State, as you see, just fitting it into the tightest of windows. He's also very athletic. This was a designed quarterback draw, runs away from the secondary, which a lot of those players are some of your fastest players on the field. And as I was saying, just the accuracy, and the thing that really makes Deshaun Watson stand out is his mental ability. Okay. He gets the game. He understands the game. For being a college player, he's definitely going to be going in the top 5 of the NFL draft.
Yeah. I mean, that's impressive. And, you know, Clemson has had a growing recognition for their football program in the past few years. I know a few years ago they beat LSU in what was an incredibly tight game at the Chick-fil-A Bowl. I was depressed because I'm not the biggest Clemson fan in that game, but watching them as they grow and they have improvements on their coaching staff's behalf and their players' behalf, it would not be a disgrace to see him win because he has definitely put in the work for that award.
Yeah, and I mean, you touched on the coaching staff. Dabo Swinney, who's the head coach out there in Clemson, Dabo Swinney, as we like to call him. You can look that up. Dabo's a dabber. Dabo Swinney is one of the best college head coaches in the nation.
Yeah.
That is unparalleled. He's definitely, I'd say, in the top 3, up there with Urban Meyer as well as Nick Saban, of course.
Of course.
Know, obviously the greatest, possibly the greatest of all time. But that's another conversation for another day. But Deshaun Watson, it has helped that he's had some great receivers over the past few years. Sammy Watkins being one of them, who's now tearing it up for the Buffalo Bills on Sundays. But, you know, whenever Deshaun Watson loses big receivers, he doesn't falter.
No.
You know, a lot of the times you'll see a drop in production. However, Deshaun's production has actually increased incrementally each and every season. Yeah. So with this season coming up, I expect him to be definitely at least in the top 5 in the Heisman finalists, if not in the top 2.
Sure, yeah. I would love to see it. And, you know, we've talked about previously, just the two of us, about how important it is for a quarterback and receiver to have that bond. Yeah. I think in college is the most difficult time for those guys because they don't necessarily get as many seasons together as these NFL players get. Obviously, we see guys like Tony Romo building extensive relationships with their receivers, but these college quarterbacks just kind of have to keep it coming no matter who they're throwing to or whose name is on the back of that jersey. And of course, Watson has shown us impressively and repeatedly throughout his career with Clemson that he's capable of building those relationships very quick, and he's not making any mistakes.
Yeah, and the thing with the college athletics is that these guys are around each other literally 24/7. You know, they probably all live in the same dorms. They eat together. They do everything together. They go to practice. You know, they're practicing, as we touched on a few episodes, sometimes up to 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lot of time to spend with your teammates, which is good because it does allow you to build that chemistry, that rapport that you need on the football field come the fall.
Yeah, it does. My Heisman pick, of course, you guys probably already know who I'm going to say, and I'm a little bit biased in this decision, but Leonard Fournette. He's a junior running back at LSU. He's been in the Heisman running. This is his 2nd year of what I expect to be a Heisman run for him, and he has made statements to the press saying he wants to beat his personal best season. He's expecting to run over 2,000 rushing yards in 2016. While that is quite a feat for any college player, here's a little bit of his highlight reel with LSU. He's nothing but impressive. He's shown Les Miles and LSU fans over and over again that he has what it takes to run that ball. He's got power and dominance and certainly endurance on the field. You know, SECCountry.com predicted him to have over 1,000 rushing yards in 2016. 2015, he obviously had 1,953 rushing yards, close to 2,000, making his decision to try for 2,000 not so far off. ESPN Scarborough said he's not some mere mortal, and he predicted him to have one of the best running back seasons of any running back in the country, while ESPN's Ashoff said that Fournette is possibly one of the best players in the country overall. And of course, he broke Herschel Walker's single season record in 2015 with his 1,953 rushing yards. Leonard Fournette just shows me over and over again that he has what it takes to lead a team. He doesn't have one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. Both of his quarterbacks in the past couple of years have been mediocre. They're young quarterbacks, and they haven't even shown Les Miles that they have what it takes. They haven't beaten Alabama, which is a huge rivalry for LSU, and a major loss. I think one of the reasons that Leonard wasn't capable to win that Heisman last year, and why we saw an Alabama player take that award. We have lots of dominant players on the field in college football. Leonard Fournette has repeatedly been a statistic for LSU, just completely breaking records left and right. I'm excited to see what he does in 2016. It is his junior year. He did go forward last year saying he had no interest in leaving LSU until he was a senior, but then later in the season said if it comes down to it, he's open to the draft. And I think if anybody's open to the draft, and if the NFL's looking, Leonard Fournette is ready, and he's shown us he's a very impressive player.
Yeah, and watching that highlight reel there, I was just in absolute awe. I probably missed half of the things you said, to be honest, watching him. It's just unfair how he can have the size and the speed that he does.
Yeah.
Once he gets to the second line, to those linebackers, he's either going to punish you, and when I say punish you, he's going to punish you.
Oh, yeah.
He is a big boy, and he also has the speed, as you saw there. Once he gets into that second level by the defensive backs, he's gone. It's a foot race. This guy, I probably think he could run the 100 meters for Team USA.
Yeah, absolutely.
He has the raw speed.
You know, Les Miles, I think one of the biggest disabilities that Les Miles creates for the football team at LSU when they come to play Alabama, Les Miles chokes up on those reins and expects for his team to play exactly what he calls. But Leonard Fournette plays his best, and so do his young quarterbacks, when they have the ability to make their own plays, make their own calls. Leonard doesn't really need anybody to instruct him. He obviously knows what he's doing on the field. And a lot of defenses are almost scared to play LSU because of Leonard Fournette. He's got recognition on and off the field for being an incredible guy. Last year, he donated a jersey, went against the NCAA regulations, and ultimately won that case with them to donate his jersey in benefit of South Carolina after that extreme flood that they had when they had to move the game to LSU, which was originally scheduled to be in South Carolina. I mean, Leonard Fournette stands out as an individual and as a football player. It's going to be a close race between him and Deshaun, but I think both of them have definitely earned the title and have definitely earned at least a shot at the Heisman this year.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Leonard Fournette has been on draft radars of NFL scouts since he was in high school,
yes.
Ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you called him a statistic. I'm going to call him a man-child, because that's exactly what he is. He reminds me of LeBron James on the basketball court, where everybody else, they're big, they have their muscles, but this guy is just a freak.
Yeah.
He is an absolute freak. As I just said, it's completely unfair for him to have the size and speed that he does, and he's very quick on his lateral moves, his jukes, everything else, and if he doesn't need to use those, well, he'll be happy to run right through you.
Yeah. You know, Les Miles said after their spring game that Leonard Fournette has just completely destroyed his capabilities of what he was capable of last year. And by that, I don't mean that he looked bad. I mean that Les Miles was even more impressed with a player that we have just continuously seen dominate in the world of football. He looked even better this year than he did last, which can only mean big and better things for him, LSU, and the SEC in general.
Yeah, I don't think it's a stretch to say that Leonard Fournette will be going #1 overall in the draft come next spring. But that's yet to be determined, clearly. Now, if you're on social media, we'd like to invite you guys to follow us at USportsReport. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. Check us out on YouTube. You can watch all of our episodes here at your own convenience for absolutely free.
Yes, and you can call us out when we say that we claim Golden State would win, but really we didn't. Make sure that you're watching so you keep track of what we're saying.
Send it to us. You can follow us each individually at _SportsSkinny.
Yes.
You can find me at Ty Ortega. If also you definitely want to follow the show account. We're always bringing you updates throughout whatever sporting events going on. Kimberly and I are on that Twitter handle all the time. So It's not like you're just writing into somebody, in the office. It is actually us that run the social medias, the Facebooks, everything. Leave us your feedback. We want to know what you want us to talk about here on the U Sports Report.
And that's it for the U Sports Report, guys. Thanks for watching. For Tyler Ortega, I'm Kimberly Temple, and we are happy to have you guys every single Tuesday and Thursday watching a new episode.